freight prepaid. So when you say you do freight prepaid, it means that before your container is loaded to a vessel, you must pay its cost. Now, if the buyer pays that freight cost, he has a stake in the business. But if it is CIF that you are responsible for that, your cost is being increased beyond normal limits for FOB. So it is necessary we understand that. Then I talked about NSP. NSP is the government policy. The reason for NSP is that government is a government regulation. They have fears or they notice that a lot of people ship this produce out of Nigeria and do not repatriate their funds. What do I mean by not repatriating funds? You shipped to, let's assume you ship to US, and instead of paying your money down to Nigeria in your account, they pay it to maybe another American account. Then you spend it there without repatriating it there. Government frown at that. So they initiated the regulation for NSP. So that NSP is non-oil export account. So what it means is that for every export that you do through legal means, is supposed to come into that NSP account. In fact, in trade system, by the time you are applying, it will be captured. So if you export now and you did not repatriate it, CBN will write your local bank will write you. And if you don't regularize, they can block your account. And that account, you don't have access to withdraw cash from that account, dollar cash. You can only sell to those who have from NSP, from MEM for imports, or you sell to the bank, or you utilize it for valid for forest. What is called valid for forest? Valid for forest are commodities that government have listed that if you want to import them, you can source for the dollar to import them through CBN. So if that commodity does not fall under valid for forest, it is a non-valid for forest. So you cannot utilize that funds for non-valid for forest. So that is NSP. The non-NSP accounts are accounts that are not, that's what you call non-SP accounts. So those accounts are accounts that you can use to receive dollars for any transaction. Any transaction you receive inflow, you can also outflow, you can also pick up cash, but it's actually not an export denominated account. It's an account used for other inflows that you may receive from abroad. Then you can go to the bank and withdraw the dollar cash or transfer from the account to any other person or deposit dollar cash to the account and make transfers from it or withdraw from it. I hope that explains those things. If there's any other thing, you can ask me something you don't get.
Okay, Valentina, I hope that's clear for you.
Yes, sir. I think I now at least to a level a point of I understand some things now.
Okay. Okay, is there any other thing within the that's the course that you will require to clarify? Because that's the
Yes,
purpose of this meeting.
yes. Another thing. Please, what do you mean by assembling points?
Okay. Assembling points. Sorry, list I forget. My apologies for coming in a bit late. I'm in a national assignment. I'm the secretary of National Charcoal Producers, Dealers, and Exporters Association of Nigeria. So we are on a NEC meeting. So that's why I came in a bit late because I was taking minutes as the national secretary to attend to this because this is important to me. So sorry for coming in a bit late. Okay. Now, what we call assembly point is where you assemble your goods. Your assembling points could be your warehouse, your assembly temporal place, assuming you are buying goods from a farm gate. You know that it's possible that one farmer cannot give you a full truckload. So you are going to make an assembling point. At that assembling point, you pick from all the farmers in that locality and bring them there. Then from there, you can lift it to where you are going to process them. Sometimes your assembling point may be your processing point if it is close to the source of the goods, the farm gate. So assembling point is where you usually gather your goods temporarily, either to process or to move them to a processing point. So you assemble those goods at that point for easy um, movements to either a processing point, storage point, or a warehouse. Okay, does that explain that?
Yes, sir.
Well, okay. Thank you so much. I guess Mr. Tosin is here. Mr. Tosin, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Sorry for joining late. I'm actually on the road. I'm on my way home. So I'm just listening.
A lot of people are on the roads. That's no problem. Okay. We are discussing based on the video we saw. The courses we took in the week. Okay, what are your take? Yeah, obviously you will have questions. Trust me, so that things become very clear to you. Okay. Do you have any such questions now, so that we can be able to be on the same page, right? Any such? I mean, Valentina have been bringing a lot to us right now, and Mr. Joseph have been taking them one after the other to make sure there is clarity. Okay. Hello, Tosin, you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir, I can. Not at the moment, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we'll move to the next one is the exportable commodities source and the sourcing. Okay. So Mr. Joseph, I don't know if you can be able to lay more emphasis on those exportable commodities so that we can I mean, for the purpose of the people that are here, we have some new set of people. Mr. James is here, and okay, Muscat is not more here for the purpose of these people that just joined. Okay, that's on the second and the material exportable commodities source and sourcing.
Hello, Mr. Ruben. Thank you very much for that question or that contribution. Yes, when you talk about products, exportable products and sources, let me start with exportable products. Now, I make it proud to say that um, Nigeria and Africa is a blessed country. I'm proud to say that, even though I'm not proud about where Nigeria is at present, because we are in the hoods. But the truth is that God has richly blessed this nation. I will make it bold to this country. Somebody will challenge me to it, and I can take you up on it. Everything is exportable based on human, natural, agricultural services is exportable. We have them in abundance. But let me start with basic things like agricultural commodities. are limitless. We export vegetables. Vegetable can be up to 10. The green leaves, the ewedu, the ogo, that's pumpkin leaves, okra. You know, okra is a vegetable, and bitter leaf. So many types of vegetables are exportable. Then we export tomato, onions, garlic, ginger. Then that takes us to spices, pepper, all kinds of pepper, black pepper, red pepper, chili pepper, hot pepper, the ones we call shombo, atarudu, atawewe, whether fresh, dry, or grinded, they are all exportable. And spices, to local spices that we use for delicacy, we use those who knows how to cook food, the things we use, spices used for salad food, salad soup, white soup, then and other spices that are processed like maggi, curry, thyme. Some of them that comes from different types. We use them for processing. So we process all of them and we export them. So it is very very high demand in abroad. So they're exportable. Then we are climbing up. For grains, we export beans, soya beans, sesame seed, and the likes. I'm listing a few, not so many of them because of time. Then we leave there, we go to fruits. We export avocado, walnuts, cashew nuts, shea nuts, some semi-processed fruits like cashew nuts, shea butter, soya meal, soya cake. We export all of them. Then oil, palm oil, soybean oil, moringa oil, neem seed oil, vegetable oil, and all whatnot. They are all exportable. Then we talk of other produce that are processed or finished goods. We make creams for both body lotion, hair creams, and all whatnot because we have the resources here. Then we talk about some other things like finished products, Indomie, Maggi, Bonvita, Milo, spaghetti, pasta, and so on. Some other finished materials that are not edible, textile materials, that's clothes of all sorts, leather, that is leather material, shoes, bags. These are things, products of agro base. Then we come to solid minerals. Solid minerals, there are too many of them, but surprise you to know that you can export even sand. The what they call loamy sand, the sand we use in planting, can even be exported. So you export all sorts of minerals. Many you have never heard. I will mention a few of them. There's what is called mica, there's tantalite, there's benzite, there's lepidolite, there's rose quartz. I can continue to mention all of solid minerals. Not to talk of the ones that we are familiar with when you say gold, silver, iron ore, copper ore, and so on, and lead. Those are the ones that we are processed, like gold processed to 22 carats, iron ore, copper ore, and lead ore, turned from ore to either what they call ingots, or from ingots to bars, although not purely purified, but the process of purification is industrialized. You can sort that out. Now, that takes us to other materials other than solid minerals, services. Now, IT is one of them, entertainment is another one, and content creation. These things are exportable. Then we export our professionalism and other professional courses that you can even render such services here or there, and they pay you for those services. So if you want to talk of exportable items, I can continue to talk about them, but I'm conscious of the time because the class will end by 8. So let me just um, stop here in enumerating them. Now, because there are so many I didn't mention, if I start
Okay.
mentioning things like stoneflower, gum arabic, turmeric, and so on, there are so many other materials that I can continue to mention. They have red bees, sorghum, millet, cotton. I can continue to mention them. They are all exportable. So let me reduce this thing. Then for the sources, every item has a place where you can source them. And you have to know the sources of those items. You know that most grains come from the north, if you are talking of grains. Then solid minerals, most of them come from different parts of the places in Nigeria, but especially the Middle Belt has a lot of solid minerals. Then you want to talk of gold, their locations, silver, their locations, iron ore, their locations, and then you begin to talk of the vegetables, the south and the west, the cashew nuts, the west and the middle belt, the palm oil, palm kernel, palm nuts. We talk of the eastern part of Nigeria, the cassava chips, the yam chips. You talk of the middle belt, eastern Nigeria, south, and a bit of the western part. Then there are so many other materials that you find in different locations in Nigeria. Some others that, like honey, There are places they crop them in southwest, in north central, northeast, where you can find honey. You find coffee in also some parts of the northeast that you can find coffee. There are so many others. You see, some of these things that I'm listing were not mentioned in the first place. So I'm just listing them now because if I continue to mention them, we won't go. So that's why I group grains, grouped some of them, and tell you the locations where you can find them. For the vegetables, you find them in the south, south, southeast, and western parts of Nigeria. Those things are available in those areas. Then for every item that is found in Nigeria, there's a process to source them. Now, what you do is there are two ways to source. You either source from the farm gate. What it means sourcing from farm gate is that your buying is that it gives you advantage of low pricing. Then apart from the advantage of low pricing, it also gives you quality purchase and traceability. But that's not the only way to source. You can source from aggregators. Or who do we call aggregators? Those that usually buy the goods and resell, the aggregators. Now, aggregators makes it easier for you to source, but also it comes a little bit more expensive. And qualities are also not guaranteed. And traceability is also lost in the process because the aggregator will bring good quality and bad quality, mix them together. You will not be able to trace, even know where those goods come from. But they makes it easy for you to source. So you can source through the two ways. Okay. Now, sourcing is a bit of a challenge because you may know the location, but if you don't know how to identify the quality in that location, you will end up um, getting poor quality. So sourcing is material. If you don't source, you can't even get products to sell. So it's a very important aspect of it. You can even go to a location and you don't know the proper thing to do. You just waste your money going there and you won't be able to get the goods. So you have to understudy how to source for materials, and it will be easy for you to do. In terms of sourcing, you identify qualities when you see them, you identify products when you see them. Like I was discussing with someone yesterday, we are approaching the season, or we just entered the season for shea nuts. Shea nuts, you know what is called shea nuts? That's the nuts they use in making shea butter. Shea butter is ori that we use both medicinal, herbal, for hair treatments and other things. Okay, so that particular product, the fruits in making it is called shea nut. So I was discussing with someone. He told me, "Oh, I have." I said, "What do you have?" He said, "I have products." I said, "Is it cracked, dried, cracked, or uncracked?" He said, "It's uncracked." I said, "Is it dry or wet?" He said, "Now it's not dry yet." I said, "I don't need on dry." He said, "Okay, then I'll give you the old one." You know, the implication of having the old one means that you're getting a crop of 2023, not 2024. And your buyer is going to specify that you buy crops of 2024 for him. Now, the question is, why will my buyer want crop of 2024, not 2023? You know that 2023 crop has stayed 1 year on ground. So there's tendency for pest infestation on it. The tendency is there. The tendency of over drying is there. The tendency of poor quality is high. Secondly, your buyer may not be using it today or next week or this year. So if he's going to use it next year, it means that the goods that he's going to use now have stayed 2 years on the ground. So he will prefer to buy something fresh. So if he's not using it this year, he will use it the following year. Okay? You understand? These are intricacies in sourcing products. You should be able to do that. Now, funny enough, some people will now go and mix rice and beans. I just use this as a description. Mixing rice and beans is that they will bring last year's crop, mix it with this year's crop. So if you understand how to source you know your onions, you'll be able to identify, oh, this is mixed with this. So you can identify the old nuts from the new nuts. And it is dangerous for you to do that because the tendency that the old nuts being infested with pests will quickly affect the new ones and it will cause a lot of damage. So in terms of sourcing, it's a very pragmatic process that you need to understand for you to be able to do that. Okay, let me leave slow down for people who have gone through the product to ask me questions because we have just 8 minutes to the end of the class.
All right, thank you so much. This is quite informative. I know we will have any question. Valentina, do you have any question with respect to that so that we can maximize the time? We also have Mr. James. Mr. James, you are welcome. Mr. James is also an exporter. You're welcome. Well, I just want to welcome you to this meeting, and I know you are getting value right now. I mean what you're hearing now is quite good because we're taking it deeper. This week it just we're just taking the course for week one. Okay, we have several courses that will last for 5 weeks. We'll have next week we'll be taking processing and packaging goods for export. We will also be taking quality and quantity determination for export. Okay, these are what we'll be covering for next week. By Monday, these courses will be uploaded to the platform so that the students can participants can take them. Then on Saturday next week, by this time next week, we can also come back here to be able to look into that. Take all the questions, all the findings, and also get some deep insight. So I will leave that for us. I don't know if you have any question regarding today's discussion around the exportable commodities, the source and the sourcing. He has explained in depth about farm gates, and all whatnot in terms of the how you go about it. Because obviously some of us here we are doing this for the first time. There will be question of so who do you talk to? Okay, are there a modus operandi? Okay, the farmers, do you engage with them on one-on-one, or do you engage with them as a group? All those kind of things. I expect us to be able to have some questions we can put across that right away. I don't know if you can hear me and hear Mr. Joseph.
Yes, we can
Exactly.
hear
Yes,
you.
we can. We can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so if there is no more question, that means we'll assume everything is clear on your side. So we're gonna be
Hello,
um
sir.
There's
Hello,
a
sir.
question.
okay.
There's
Can
a
we hear you?
question. Sorry,
Okay.
I lost internet for the remaining parts of the lectures. I don't know whether the recordings are going to be shared
Oh,
because
sure,
I've
sure.
been offline for the past 10 minutes or so.
It will be shared. It will be
Okay.
shared.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
All right. You're welcome. So, but
Hello, sir.
do me a favor after this class, please drop your emails, because once we share it, we'll give access to only the emails that are available. So you drop your emails on the WhatsApp group where you belong, so that we can be able to give you, access once we share the link. Okay, thank you. Any
Okay,
other
thank
question?
you.
Hello, sir.
Okay, Mr. Tosin, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to find out, are we going to be having another session whereby an in-depth explanation will be given concerning the different specification for some of the commodities Mr. Joseph mentioned? For example, like charcoal, there are different types of charcoal. There's iron, there's barbecue. The same thing with cashew nuts, the different counts, and so many other things like that. Like sesame seed, there are different specification. So,
Oh,
will there be another session where he will go in depth into letting us know how to source and know the different specification that a customer requires?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Actually, after this, after the whole class, there will be a mentoring, if you recall. Okay, in
yeah. Hello.
that's okay. Mr. Joseph, you want to
Hello.
say something? Yeah.
Yes, I want to say something. There are in this course content, there's also specification of products. You understand? So that you'll be able to know the specification, the requirements on products, and also quality specifications and standards will be taught as a model in this course. But beyond that, you know that in a classwork, you're not going to be able to get the total knowledge. Some of them, and you will feel them and understand better their quality and their differentiations. So that will come in mentoring. That's what Mr. Ruben wanted to talk about. But I want to just emphasize that first, in the class, there's a time for it. Beyond that, there's also a mentoring class that will enable you to have real access of these things and the real events that will come along with it. Okay, so be rest assured that you will get to see those things as the mentoring goes on too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, for your information, Mr. Tosin, you know that Mr. Joseph is the secretary of Charcoal Association in Nigeria. So what else can you gonna get? He will explain. He will take you beyond, above and beyond your what your expectations are, as well as for other products. Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any other before we call it a day?
Yes.
Okay.
In the process of Mr. Joseph's teaching, he mentioned something like legal exportation. Is there anything like legal and illegal exportation?
Yes, Valentine. I like your style of listening. There's legal and there's illegal exportation. Smuggling is the word for illegal exportation. Some people do smuggling, some people do legal, some people do illegal by non-documentation. Although the goods are not banned, but not follow due process. So you smuggle those goods to the other part. Then some are banned, but you find a way to get them to the other destination. So those ones are entirely illegal. You understand? So there are legal exports and there is illegal export. Let me give you an instance because I know I'm on air and recorded. You can take it anywhere. For meat to Europe and fish, most countries in Europe do not want you to bring them. So there's either a strict regulation or an outright ban. But what happens? Some people find a way to take those things to those locations. What have you done? They are illegal um, commodities that you have exported, but you have found a way to smuggle them into that environment. So that's what is illegal. Then there are other things that you do that may be legal but you do not pass through the right channels. You do not follow the right policy and right documentation. Then at that point is your actions are illegal because what you do is you are a smuggler, big time smuggler. Even when what you want to produce is legitimate, but it requires certain certification, and you boycotted the certain those certification and find a way to export those goods, you have done an illegal business. Then apart from that, there are also other things you could do, like required process of exports, and you boycott them. Then you have done an illegal transaction. That is just the truth.
Okay, sir. Please, can you also add with informal? Where the word is not legal or illegal. What about informal
Okay.
exportation?
Now, when you talk of informal exportation, informal is that the goods are genuinely exported, but it did not pass through the right channels. Probably because you do not have the right knowledge or required documentation. So you decided to make it informal. So an informal means that the government of your country does not take cognizance that you have done an export. It is not in any record. Now, the implication of such thing is that if for any reason that particular item is seized or have issues, you cannot officially come out to declare and ask for intermediation from government agency. Because ordinarily, if you do a legal transaction and that transaction has issues, you can call on government agency like NEPC, that's Nigerian Export Promotion Council, or Shippers Association, or Shippers Council, or Shipping Line, or whatever, with the genuine documents, and they will assist in writing those clients for reparation. What I mean is to make right the wrongs when you do a formal export. But when you do it informally, you do not have the documents required for that. So the agencies, the government agencies, regulators did not know that you have done any exports. So you cannot combo to declare that, oh, it went wrong, I was not paid, or blah, blah, blah. You are not going to be bold to say that because you have done an informal export. What is informal? You just put something in a portfolio or a suitcase and moved it through the back door to the destination country. And if you succeed, good. If you don't succeed, you lose your money because no one is going to arbitrate on your behalf because you have not declared that you have done something. Let me give you an instance of what happens to so many people. You know that if your value or dollar that you are supposed to hold, assuming it is $2,000, what you did was you had $10,000 and you refused to declare the money because you know you have excess. So you refuse to declare it and make it informal. And suddenly your suitcase gets missing on transit. If you had declared $2,000, the shipping line or the airline will pay you that money plus your suitcase. But now you have lost $10,000, which you never declared because you did it informally. You're not going to have any moral right to ask for refunds because you did not declare it. So that is something very visible that is that informal movements can bring about, or informal um, declaration of an item can cause. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I may, if I may add also, I know some people that have distribution company that helps companies like Cadbury to take their products beyond Nigeria. Okay, so they carry out a formal, form of, is that it's an export. Okay, where you can have Bonvita in Accra, Bonvita in Cotonou, Bonvita. So they do that. But some other people also can take Indomie informally. Okay, when they get to the boundaries, they begin to sort. Okay, begin to pay some bribes and all of that. Most of these people, most of what we have across West Africa, and especially to places like Cameroon, because Cameroon is not West Africa. Okay, so and they don't we don't enjoy that kind of free trade you can have between Nigeria, Benin Republic, Togo, and the rest of West Africa. So if you're going towards Cameroon and some part of because after Cameroon you have Congo and the rest of them, which is more difficult. But the products are in high demand in such places, so they engage in an informal form of exportation, in a way of distributing those products across there, and they pay a lot of money, which at the end of it, it might affect their profits. But in a situation whereby they have to declare these things, get all the right documentation, they can come into those countries legally. Okay, nobody will be chasing after them, and all of that. So that's the distinction between the formal and the informal. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. So for the last time, do you have any other concerns from anybody?
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Okay,
All
Mr.
right, sir.
Joseph.
Yes, sir. I want to find out. I think in one of the sessions, Mr. Joseph mentioned that it's not only product or commodity we can export, and like he said, we can also export services. I don't know if he could throw more light regarding exporting of services. I'm not too clear with that. And then my second question, is cashew kernel exportable in Nigeria, and is it available here in Nigeria in large quantity?
Okay, let me answer the second one first. Tosin, cashew kernel is available and is exportable. As we speak, there's somebody who is exporting that I am processing cashew kernel for. Mr. Ruben knows them. We are
Yeah, yeah.
processing kernel for them for export. So it's available in large quantity, is exportable. So be rest assured that you can do that. Okay. So that answers that second question. Then the first question is that I should throw more light on service. Service is limitless. For example, if you are an you do what they want there, and you're paid for the service. What you have done is that you are exporting service. Even as a teacher, you can be here and be teaching someone in US. You have exported service. Like in this training program, anybody who registers for this training from a foreign country and is enjoying this class, what I have done is I have just exported knowledge, technical know-how. Is a service to the person. So it's limitless. So it depends on what you have to offer. People creating content, film actors, musicians, it is service that they create. As far as you may not be there at the moment, even when you are there at the moment, and it is not job per se or mechanical thing, you are rendering service. And once somebody is paying for those services in a foreign land, it means that you have exported their services, because he pays because he gets value for what you are rendering. So it's a service that you render and is paid for. So it's exportable. So it is limitless. Comedians export service. They make you laugh, create content, teach, do all sorts of things on the net, physical, create solutions to softwares, and so many other things. They are all services that you render. So there are so many things you can do, that even consulting is a big time service that you render. You consult for a company in US and you're here remotely and you do what they want. You have rendered their services and they pay for it. And as far as it is a cross-country transaction, it is an export. Okay. So I
All right.
hope that is an eye opener to that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, just to throw more lights, Mr. Tosin, we're actually doing cashew right now. We also have many more orders for cashew in Dubai and other locations. Okay, so we have it in large quantity. That's the point. So it's not Nigeria. You know, he started by saying that Nigeria is so blessed with most of these things, and they are. We have a land mass. You know how big our land mass is. Okay, all of the things that we have a good arable land. That's why in our coat of arms, Abi, our flag is green, white, green. The green is a symbol of arable land. It's green. Our land is, very much green. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very. We have actually come to the end of today's session. Okay, so for those that just joined us today, um, okay, I've seen it. We'll provide the link for the recorded today's recorded session so they can have. So if you have any more concerns, you want to reach out to me privately, I am available. You can chat up with me. We can have further discussion. Okay, because the courses are being uploaded on the platform on Seller. Okay, where participants can actually go and take those courses, and we come to discuss deeper and further into those courses every Saturday by 7 p.m. Okay, so that's much you can take for today. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you, Mr. Tosin. Thank you, Mrs. Valentina. Thank you, Mr. Caleb. Thank you, Philly. Thank you, Mr. James. It's good to have you here. I am so happy. And thank you, Mr. Muscat, okay, and many others that are here. God bless you and good night.
Good
Bye.
night, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.